Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to the order, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Christie, could you call the roll, please? Here. Present.
Yes, ma'am.
Here.
Here.
Okay, we have everybody present. Chief, any approvals or amendments to the agenda?
No, sir.
Any awards, presentations?
Nope.
Okay, that will take us to public comment. The board will take comment from the public regarding any matter on today's agenda. To ensure sufficient time to address all the agenda items at today's meeting and hear from as many people as practical, each speaker will have up to 3 minutes in which to share their comments, and the total amount of time allotted for public comment will be 60 minutes. The board will ask first to receive comments from members of the public who reside within the authority's jurisdiction, and then, if time remains, from members of the public residing outside of the authority's jurisdiction. Please do not interrupt other speakers. Side conversations should be moved outside the meeting room. So, public, I will open it up. Christie?
Anybody wants to be public comment, please sign up. So I have Kim Polo.
Thanks for having me. My name is Gib Colwell. I live at 14341 West County Road 18E. That's near Pinewood Reservoir. I see that today on the agenda, item number 7 is called for an executive session in today's agenda. During the recent chief separation process, the members of the board went into executive session 9 times by my account to discuss the process. We, the public, asked for transparency, yet each time we were told there were issues you could not discuss with the public. And that we did not have the whole picture. How do we get the whole picture without transparency? We are here working with you, and we respectfully request that more transparency happens during the hiring of the new chief. If you must go into executive session, fine, we will be waiting here for you, hoping for transparency during the next item on the agenda after the executive session, which item number 8 says possible discussion. Why do we hold out hope for transparency today? It has to do with an email exchange with this past Monday regarding Chief Sandoval's separation, and that email conversation with retired Loveland Fire Chief Mark Miller, who told the board members, quote, "This is Mark Miller speaking. I'm troubled by the fact that this was a unanimous decision by the board, yet there appears to be very little desire to accept that fact by many community members and most of the LFRA members, or so it seems." He ended that paragraph with these words, "As in all these types of scenarios, there is always more to the story." Ironically, that is exactly what those many community members Miller referenced, are looking for. In reply to Mr. Miller, Mayor McFall wrote, "These decisions are never easy, and your note is a helpful reminder of broader responsibilities the board carries to the organization and the community as a whole. We remain focused on moving the authority forward in a way that supports our firefighters, maintains stability, and serves both the municipality and rural residents. The way we move forward is through transparency, communication with the community, and collaboration among all stakeholders. Please, let's start now. I strongly recommend you skip item number 7 and do away with all the hiding in executive session. What possibly could be said at this executive session that we, the public, are not adult enough or mature enough to understand and comprehend and have a play in? Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Dan Engelhardt.
Hi, Dan Engelhardt, 434 West 11th Street, Loveland, Colorado. For my portion of public comment, for those of you that don't know, I'm a lieutenant here with Loveland Fire. I was hired in 2006 and I'm celebrating close to 23 years with the organization. And so what I want to take my public comment to say is I want to address the board specifically and just say thank you. You have been under extreme scrutiny throughout this whole process. And, clearly there was a lot of frustration with the public. So my perspective is this, unless I'm mistaken, this whole process has been an internal investigation, a personnel matter. And Loveland's policy, Loveland Fire Rescue Authority's policy is that people should not speak about that. We can't speak about the details or hear the details of the investigation. And so for the public's outcry to be transparent, unless I'm mistaken, I think from a professional standpoint, these board members should not be speaking about what they're discussing. And that's the importance of the executive session, is for them to speak about it without the public knowing. Now I'm going to pivot to something that happened to me specifically with Chief Simovac. When he arrived here as the fire chief in 2021, at that point I was the accreditation manager and I reported to him directly. About a month into his tenure, he came and informed me that I needed to go do a random drug test, which I did. At the random drug test, you sign paperwork and it's a carbon copy. So one copy goes to the city of Loveland. The other copy is for me to retain. About a month after that, I received a personal phone call from Chief Simovac, blatantly accusing me of intentionally skipping that random drug test. And I informed him that I had not. And he said that unless I was able to provide specific documentation that would prove that I did not skip that random drug test, his actions would be swift, implying that he would terminate me, which if that would have been the case, I would understand that. It came to my attention that after that phone call, I'll make this quick because I only have a few seconds left here. He made the moral choice to make fun of me without even really knowing my character. He made fun of me in front of other LFRA employees. And when I heard that, it hurt my soul. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Next.
I don't have anybody else signed up on paper, but if anybody online would like to make public comment, they could use the raise your hand feature and be called on.
Thank you. That will take us to our consent agenda. We have two items on there. Unless somebody would like something pulled, I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, number 3 is conduct a public hearing and consider a motion to adopt Resolution 184, adopting a supplemental budget regarding the recognition of revenue to the general fund and the appropriation of monies to and the expenditure of monies from the general fund. The Fleet Replacement Fund, Capital Projects Fund for the LFRA State of Colorado for calendar year beginning on first day of January 26, ending the last day of December 26. Rather than ask somebody to reread that, just if somebody could make a motion to that effect.
Chair, point of clarification, did we skip item 2? Or number 2? Nick Anderson?
That was on.
Oh, yeah.
That was on consent. Okay, gotcha. My fault.
It's okay, it's okay. Take a motion, please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we need a motion to open or I need, Michelle to certify for the record it was published and whether public comments were received.
Right, so I want to certify for the record that this public hearing was published, duly published in the paper. And there were no public comments received prior to today's board meeting as to this specific matter.
Thank you. For those of you that might not know, Michelle is the LFRA's attorney. So I will open it up for public comment at this point.
Anybody has public comment about this item, feel free to. Or raise your hand.
Okay, without any further comment from the public, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, takes us back into our regular session. Do we have a motion to adopt the resolution, or would anybody prefer to have further dialogue on it?
Mr. Chair, does staff have a presentation prepared?
I don't have a presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. This is kind of a routine annual carry forward where we reappropriate monies that the board previously appropriated for projects that were completed.
Nothing new on it, correct?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
okay. Yeah. Okay, if there's no other comments, could I have a motion to accept?
So moved. Second that.
Any further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That will take us to item number 4, which is another public hearing to consider a motion to adopt resolution R-185, adopting a supplemental budget regarding the appropriation of monies to and expenditures of money from the LFRA Fleet Replacement Fund for LFRA, State of Colorado, calendar year beginning first day, January 26, ending the last day of December 26. Take a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Is there a second to go into public hearing? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Michelle?
I can certify for the record again that this supplemental budget notice also was duly published in the newspaper and that the LFRA did not receive any public comments on this matter prior to today's meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment? Anybody online?
Don't throw anybody online.
Chief Ward, anything you need to or want to add here?
Just a little bit of explanation on this one. The rescue truck that we have on order that will go to Station 2 to replace the frontline rescue truck, which is a 2013. That's at its end of life for a frontline apparatus like that. We want to reconfigure the compartmentation and then turn that into our hazmat truck. Our current hazmat truck is a 2009. So we're replacing it with a newer truck. The role of the hazmat truck, the responses and the use of that is very minimal compared to the rescue truck. So that truck should carry us forward for many years to come. The rescue truck that we would make into the hazmat truck, all 3 firefighters at Station 10 can go in that truck versus now the current hazmat truck has 2 seats. So they always have to take 2 vehicles wherever they go when they need the hazmat truck. So it's more effective for their response. The other thing, it gives us a little bit of backup comfort that if something were to ever happen with our frontline rescue truck and it had to go out of service for several months with a mechanical issue or an accident, we could grab that truck from hazmat, bring it back and put it back in service as a frontline rig and then move the hazmat stuff to a trailer the collapse rescue truck or something. So it gives us a little bit of flexibility in an emergency situation, which I think the accident with the ladder truck, proved that stuff can happen, and we had never experienced that before in our organization like that. So that's kind of the background on what we're trying to accomplish. We will sell the hazmat truck then, once we get these conversions done, and we should be able to replenish the money, I think, plus a little in that account for what we're spending on this reconfiguration.
Thanks, Chief. I'll open it up for a comment.
Good question. Chief, is there any utility of the old, soon to be old hazmat truck up the canyon? I mean, can it be fitted with a water bladder and?
No, the current hazmat truck is, and it's built by a company that what they build is, Pepsi and Coke trucks. And that's really all it is. It's a big box with roll-up compartments on it and compartments and shelving inside. So it would take a significant amount of dollars to repair or reconfigure that to put any type of firefighting equipment on. It's just a big toolbox, and that's what a hazmat truck is.
Okay.
And in fact, that's what a rescue truck is. The good thing about the hazmat truck is because it was built by a company that's what they do, it's very well built, because I'm sure they don't take care of a Pepsi truck like we take care of a fire truck. So it's built very well, but it's not operationally as effective as a more of a custom truck like our rescue. So really no repurpose. There's no need for a rescue type truck in the canyon. If there was, it would be a good option, but there really isn't that operational need.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Chief, just quickly on the 2009 hazmat, the one that this one we're refurbishing if this is approved today. That's what it's gonna replace, and that's the one that you're going to sell off.
So, yeah.
Whatever, to dispose of in an appropriate way to maximize our funds.
Mhm.
With the 2013 that we're reformatting, how are we going to put that? I know we've depleted the last couple of years, the vehicle replacement fund, but with the older truck now taking the front line service, how are you gonna formulate the replacement on that? So in 10 years from now, and obviously it probably won't last the 10 because it's already got 10 years of, 12 years of use in it. What are we gonna do with that? Are we gonna set aside funds for that as well?
Yeah,
And
I
I know
think
we'll have a little bit from the 09, but it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the brief conversation that Andrea and I had was the replacement funds that we were working on for the 2009, that would be our starting point. And as we reconfigure and recalculate what our apparatus account needs to get to, we'll start with that, and then we'll build off of that. So that dollar amount will probably grow, but we're gonna extend that apparatus out longer than the 2009 as well, because it's a better truck to start with. So,
okay,
yeah,
thank you.
so.
Any other questions? Generate any questions from the public?
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Chief Ward. You mentioned something about a trailer.
Mhm.
Does it make the same amount of sense to just have a hazmat trailer that you can pull with any vehicle? Then you wouldn't have to change it from a vehicle that's a 2013 to something newer, since we're 13 years.
Mhm. No, on the hazmat and the tech rescue type trailers. We've had a tech rescue trailer for many years, and then was able to get away from that. The problem with the trailers for that type of use, they're always overweight, and fleet's always telling us, take stuff off of them. You're overweight. That's not safe for the firefighters, and fire trucks and trailers like that, if we can add something, we continually add it. And that takes and really messes with the weight, especially on the trailers. As a backup, because we have a couple trailers down at the training center for various use. If we had to pull the hazmat stuff off for a period of time and utilize the trailer, it would work fine. But for its everyday use, most of that equipment is just so heavy and bulky that the truck, it really needs the truck. And like I said, the good thing with the hazmat truck, the use is low enough where that truck can last, many years for us.
All right, that's good. Thank you.
Anything else? No, this in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, without any further comments from the public, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Your second, in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, that will take us to a motion to adopt the resolution unless there's any further conversation that the board would like to have. Take a motion, please.
I move to adopt resolution R-185.
There's a second,
I'll second that.
further conversation. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, chief.
Okay, that will take us to discussion of LFRA grants, and Chief Smith, I believe that's your area.
Yep.
Thank you.
If you were to bring up PowerPoint for us. Okay, so first one we wanted to hit was our Chimney Hollow Carter Lake watershed project or protection project. This one came to us from the state of Colorado. It's called a furworm, or the Forest Restoration and Wildfire Risk Mitigation grant. This state of Colorado Forest Service and the Northern Colorado Water Conservancy District, with the long words, really started with this whole project, and then they came and talked to us. The red line is Rainbow Lane that's next to Carter Lake. The very bottom end of that road is actually in Berthoud Fire District. We're going to be doing work in our fire district. They specifically asked us to do 5 defensible space treatments and some roadway treatment to bring all that together. They did all the research, they did all the work. There's already been work in there from DFPC, or the Division of Fire Prevention and Control. County's done work in there many years ago, so we're just trying to add into the work that's being done. It is a match grant. It goes from 2026 to 2030. We feel like that's 2 seasons worth of work, some this year and some next year. And I'll show you a Gantt chart at the very end with all these kind of put together, what that looks like. But the match is our labor. So we're not actually putting money out, so to speak. It's our folks doing the work. Move on to the next one unless there's questions with that.
Chief Smith, quick question on the mitigation work. Is it assumed that Lieutenant D. Decker's group would be doing that mitigation work? Would we be hiring extra people to help him? Or
No,
what?
that's our in-kind match. So the main focus behind the grants and why we've gone after them is to help fund these projects as they come through. The main mission of the module, it's split. They're there for fire response. They're also there to work on our CWP. And when we have projects that land within the CWPP, like this particular one does, we want to try to help maybe take advantage of that money. We can repurpose that, so to speak, or at least it comes in the bank and we can use it for something else or help continue to fund the module.
So you don't see any additional seasonal help to do this, or is it there are no funds to do that?
Not
Not
there's
currently.
not funds to do that.
Gotcha.
But as you see these grants go through, I guess you can look at the storyline and go from there. I mean, the honest opinion about the work out there, we could have 10 modules and there's probably more work than we can do. So, yeah, it's at least what we've said we committed to. This one's formally awarded, the other 2 are coming. At least one in our name, it's been told it's coming to us, so that one's pending, the other one's technically not ours. But this one initially was just the state of Colorado and Northern Colorado Water. And then they actually pulled that off and gave it directly to us. So
Northern is the funder then?
no, this is state of Colorado funding it. It was initially built by the state of Colorado and Northern.
Okay.
And then they brought us into it and they separated that grant out and gave this portion of the funding to us.
Thank you.
If that makes sense.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So 4-ish years, less than 4 years to complete the project. LFRA is anticipating 2 years. Did you maybe mention the start anticipated start date?
This year, we want to start on it. The way that we were hoping to do bulk of the, our match work this year, but the state doesn't want to bill it that way. So this will probably end up being a 2-year project. We'll do some work. That'll be our match. We'll continue to do some work. That'll be our refund. So we'll do this little stair step process with it. But we anticipate that just based on our history and what we've already done for projects, we believe we can have this done next year. Even though it's way ahead of the timeline, but there's a lot of work, so we'd like to get things out of the way, so to speak.
And there's a buffer then too. So
Yeah,
that's good.
exactly. Like if something comes in, especially, we're expecting this year not to be friendly to us with wildfire. So how much work are they actually gonna get done?
Great, thank you.
This one's strictly Loveland fires. This grant came in because of 2024's activity. Started off with Alexander Mountain Fire on July 29th. The 30th was the Stone Canyon Fire in Boulder County, and then the 31st was the Quarry Fire in Jefferson County. Feds saw that, they call it a hazard mitigation grant program. I don't know the exact dollar amount, but our portion was $1.3 million. County came to us after the state contacted them and said, hey, is Loveland Fire interested? And we were like, yes, we are. Strictly $1.3 million for work for us. The other enticing piece, I guess you would say, is that the state of Colorado said will help. So it's technically a 25% match. But the state of Colorado said, we've got 12.5% of that. We'll cover that. So we were like, oh, wow. So we only have to cover our in-kind match, 12.5%. That definitely fits within what we are currently funding our module at. So again, we built this grant based on the work that they would do. And there'll be a little piece that I can show with the Gantt chart that'll help understand how these piece together. But we specifically used so the picture, the map that you see there, that's directly from our CWPP or our Community Wildfire Protection Plan. Sorry to get all these acronyms right to try to say them out. That's the roadway treatments that are our threat. Those are the things that we need to do. Yes, it's mostly on the west side, but you can see it's butting up even against the edge of the city. The top one is a lower threat versus the bottom is the highest threat. Timeline 26 to 30. We think it'll take all 4 years to deal with this. And up to 45 miles of work that we'd be doing throughout the district. Next one.
Yes.
In the same vein as Director Bukowski's questions, what staff are we putting on this, like what firefighters?
So when we built this plan, it was strictly based on our size module that we have. So the 4 seasonals and a full-time position.
So they're doing this and all of the same.
Yeah. Gantt chart will help put it all together. Promise. This one was recently awarded. It's technically to Larimer County Office of Emergency Management, $9.8 million. The reason this grant happened is because of our CWPP, Estes' CWPP, and Glen Haven's CWPP. None of that would have been possible without those been developed, and they're all stitched together. It really started with Glen Haven. They had theirs in 2020, and in 2022, Estes completed theirs, and then we completed ours in 2023. But we all intentionally stitched them together. And that's the mission behind any of this work, is trying to build plans so everything ties together. We're not working against each other, basically. There's no match, and the deliverables are the pieces down below. I did put, I don't know if you guys are interested, but there is a link that kind of shows how they break out that $9.8 million if you're interested. There's not a specific dollar amount that says this is the Loveland and this is the Estes and this is to all the other players. It's just the work is to be done. That's yet to be determined. There is a steering committee put together to try to define what all that is going to look like. The acronyms up there: Big Thompson Watershed Coalition for the partner agencies, Estes Valley Watershed Coalition, Larimer County Office of Emergency Management, Estes Fire Department. I think I kind of hit them all. Questions on that one? Yes, sir.
If I could, Chief. The 2026, 2031, is that actual guys and gals on the ground doing stuff in 2026?
No, it's spread out through that entire time.
Okay, so when, I'm sorry, the question is, when do you expect it to impact your organization?
2028.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the Gantt chart.
Community meetings starting this year.
Yeah, community meetings are this. So there's
Okay.
phases into that. The actual boots on the ground cutting stuff kind of
Right.
thing, that's later, but there's already pieces that or deliverables that have to take place, and it's. Most of this work is on private land, so you've got to get approval from the owners to come in and do this type of work. So it's town halls. So we're hoping to take this particular grant, our grant, and combine these town halls, so there's not confusion like, well, why are you here? Why are you here? So there's clarity on this work's being done based on this grant, and this work's being done based on this grant, but they're designed to stitch together.
Do you see any pushback from the community, up the canyon, that they're on their lands? Is that even an option? I don't know how that works.
No, I mean, I guess you would say there's those individuals, but there's not very many. Good. So this past year, we did 10 defensible space homes, part of one of the co-swap grants, one of the state grants, to stitch projects together. And almost all were very much welcoming to have a study.
Thanks, Chief.
And we didn't, like in that grant, we didn't pick those 10 homes, right? That's somebody else.
That had to be on storm. So what we did is made sure that it was tying into other pieces. Specifically, the Alexander Mountain burn scar came to a certain point. Big Thompson Watershed Coalition was already doing work in another area. We want to make sure we're in the middle, so all this goes together, if that makes sense. So it was a little bit of coordination, picking, if you want to use that word, but it was intentional by design of what work that has already been done.
Thank you.
A SOAR Gantt chart. The red is what we expect to do work-wise.
It may be easier to go up and point it out. The chairman mentioned that to me the other day. It's
Sorry.
easier to.
So the red is the work time
Hello, pointer.
from our people. Stands out, hopefully it's not too distracting. The performance period for each of the grants. And then the coordinators work planning periods. And those yellow times are typically when that coordinator by themselves. The seasonals are the reds. And currently the design of the seasonals is 6 months of work.
And we already have that built into our budget. That's already pre-planned. It's work within what we were expecting.
So as you can see, 29 is a bottleneck. Unless your work is reduced in the amount that they can produce, can't really be in two places at the same time.
So we might need to plan for staffing for that time frame.
Yeah, but there's pieces there that we're still learning, in particular about where can we use these grant funds? Can we use, we call it capacity in the grant world, which we've learned, but bringing on more people. Can you use grant funding for that term limited employees?
Right. Great.
There's lots of questions, comments.
Board? Yeah, we should buy a pointer though. I guess if I could, my biggest concern is, I mean, that's a tight schedule, right? I mean, barring weather, those sorts of issues. So contingency plan at some point, whether it's additional personnel or whatever would be helpful. And I'm sure it's in the role that there might be some things that the role can do to assist you with that. So just keep us informed what you need, Chief.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, that's the piece, that's the mission is dual focus for the module. I mean, if it is, to your point, a busy wildland season, they may be dealing with trying to put fires out versus being able to do some of the CWPP work. We know that.
Just let us know what you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So to piggyback on that, when do you plan to come back to us with like updates on this?
As often as you would like.
I mean, I feel like the beginning of 2027 probably would be an excellent time. We probably would know a lot more. And we would be looking at kind of more of that seasonal work up ahead of us so that we can start anticipating and planning for that. I know budget time is October, but it doesn't look like we'll know quite as much. Well, city budget, we start with October, I guess. I don't know. City manager, Director Thompson, when would be best for us to kind of have an idea to anticipate seasonals?
Well, based on I think in the fall, we'll have a good idea how this year went. We have that discussion for the following year and prep, so
Like
probably
October?
Yeah, when we shut it down, so probably October, November.
Okay, would you be able to bring something back to us for that, Mr. Chair, would that be appropriate?
I would believe we'd have information about how the fur worm, the first one that we're starting on this year goes.
Okay,
Based on the wildfire season, we should have more information about the HMGP or the Alexander Mountain Fire Grant. What's been awarded, what the timelines are they're expecting for us to address that, because that's again, it starts with community work or town homes, permissions to get on project property type things. So yeah, as soon as I know more information, I definitely can pass it on and we can try to get something set up to present.
One quick question, other than the overlap in 29, so we'll have to prepare in 28 to talk about what we're gonna do in 29, if in fact it's looked like we're still gonna have the overlap. But that's a given.
Right.
But how deep are the reds? So what I mean by how deep are the reds? Like, is this first go round, it's bigger of the grants? I mean, is it a lot more work and then come back the next year and it's a little less work, or I mean, how much do we anticipate with our capacity? Or are we just gonna fill up our capacity and do what we
It's a great question, because our first year versus our second year, we didn't have the same people, and this year we only have one person from the following year. So we may see because they're seasonals, we may see one new person, or maybe there's some bleed over. So there's a training window. What's the real work ability of that group? That may change season to season. Just the wildfire potential or issues that we deal with could also affect it. The mountain pine beetle is another fear that we don't want to say too loud, because there's been talk from the Forest Service and the State Forest Service about controlling when you're going to be able to cut. So if our seasonals are coming in from May through October, November, and then they say you can't cut. Oh, yeah, now we either have to shift to plan B or come up with a different plan, because you really now need your seasonals over the winter time. So there's a lot of pieces that could impact it. Now, what we built was based on our first 2 seasons of work. And I would say it's been spread out fairly, and I don't know, we could say 1 year is heavier than the next. Thank you. I mean, I guess to your question, we'd like to get the work done sooner so that we have the depth and time to meet the grant.
Yeah, and I think probably twice a year we could talk about it before and after, and then that'll give us a pretty good idea of where we're at. Yeah, I mean, every year reevaluate, right? There's gonna be a lot of things that happen each year that we don't know about today. Okay.
well, and not to belabor that, however, perhaps there is some sort of potential, just brainstorming for an incentive type program for our volunteers, or for our, not our volunteers, but our part-time that come in and it's just seasonal to come and do this, so that they don't have to be retrained, which maybe would save us time and money. So maybe that's something we should be talking about after we look at this season, if we think there is a potential for retention. I don't know if the rest of the staff or the rest of the board would consider that, but maybe that would be good use of even grant funds, really. So that we have people who know the area, know what they're doing, if we don't have to retrain.
Yeah,
I'd be interested in having that conversation in
completely
October.
agree with something like that. We tried to make the pay competitive. I would say some of the challenge is you're comparing, they might be comparing themselves to Forest Service or the county that may be going on actual events. This is limited. They may have that opportunity. Specifically, if we're engaging into the Colorado Mutual Aid System, it's called CMAS. We received that for the Alexander Mountain Fire. We've given that, so to speak. It's kind of that handshake. Like, we'll go help you. Can you please come help us when the time comes? So it's that blend of work. But yeah, I'd love to talk more about incentives if that's what.
Think on it, if that's all right.
Good idea. Yeah.
Anyway, can sure. It kind of goes in, you're going in the same area. I was gonna ask first off, what's the ramp up time when you bring somebody in that's new? What is the ramp up
I
time?
would say it's 30 to 45 days in that window.
Is it?
If they come here, or if they're coming for another season, sorry, that'll be a lot shorter, but a minimum of 30 days.
Okay, so if we can find a way to incentivize this in itself, to save that time frame in there, it gets us ready to do the job a lot quicker.
Yeah, because they are.
And the us is a metaphor for us. I'm not gonna be out. Everybody I can do that.
Never say never.
That ramp up time is becoming a wildland firefighter, making sure they have basic EMS skills, because they're out there running calls too. If there's a medical that's nearby or motor vehicle accident. They've been up on Crozier Mountain, they've been on Devil's Backbone, just extra people to help get someone out. We use them, they're that force multiplier for our organization, so it is a big deal for us.
To say and understand those aspects of it, chief, make it a lot better way to say, hey, it's better to incentivize. Because you can't find this person coming on the streets.
Yeah, we were really close to getting 3 of the 4 people back that we had last year, but we lost them to some of our neighboring agencies. We were close. I guess one last piece I do want to mention, since we've had this module, we've received a little over $134,000 in grants, work that we've already done. Roughly 100,000 last year, maybe a little bit more than that, pushing maybe 40 to 50 in the first year. So we're partnering with everyone we can, county, the different watersheds, and they have projects that we may or may not be able to participate with what's on our plate right now. We're not grabbing anything else. We want to be realistic. But yeah, we're trying to help pay for the program.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, Chief. The staff's recommending that the board formally acknowledge the awarded wildfire mitigation grants and endorses the proposed plans for their utilization. So looks like you're not actually looking for a vote, more of a thumbs up. How about a thumbs up, board?
And some.
Okay, you got a formal acknowledgement. Thank you. Good to have that extra money coming in.
It's free money.
I had that conversation last night, all right.
All right, thank you. That will take us to Chief's briefing paper and correspondence, Chief Ward.
Okay. The first one's a couple of correspondence. The top one, these are always kind of hard to read when we put the emails in there, so I apologize about that. But Tammy DeBar, her family has got a history of firefighters, Cooter Fire Authority and Denver Fire. She suffered a medical emergency and she sent this email just saying how compassionate and professional, calm our firefighters were that got there first and helped her. And she just acknowledged that a lot of times the firefighters don't ever hear from a patient that they've dealt with, and wanted to make sure that everybody knew that she appreciated what they did, and she's seeking treatment, and so thankful for their help. The second one comes from the development director in Berthoud, and that's just comes through to talk about the service that we're doing down in Berthoud with the plan reviews and the community safety division, and it's really it was carried in, and now Sarah and her team on making sure that we're working well with our partners in Berthoud. They have a different system than we have in Loveland for development. It looks different, and so our team has fit in well down there. They're doing a really good job, and so community development director just acknowledging that in that email. On the 4th of March, we held the town hall meeting with the Buckskin Heights Fletcher Hill area of the inclusion election. That group, decent turnout between live at Station 7 and online. Some good questions, a lot of support for what we're doing. They have some ideas and things to look at. They're trying to get some grants and see how grants fit in with the stuff we're doing with grants, and they really want to harden their community and from the threat of wildfire. So it was a good discussion, and they were very, very engaged with us and appreciative to be in the district. Fire inspector hiring process. So with Sarah's bump up to fire marshal, we had to hire a fire inspector. We had 24 applications. They narrowed that down to I don't remember how many they interviewed yesterday, but they're making job offers today or a job offer, I should say, for a fire inspector. We just finished up an IGA with the Loveland Fire Exhibit, which is the retired firefighters that own the antique apparatus, and they have the exhibit over at the museum. A couple of vulnerabilities that group has is they're concerned that if their group would dissolve, what happens to those antique apparatus that they own. So we got an IGA put in place. Emily worked on it for us, that if they were to dissolve, the titles for that apparatus would be transferred to the LFRA, and so we would maintain control of those and then decide what we needed to do with them. The next one we need to work on is probably a three-way IGA between the fire exhibit, the fire, or the city museum staff, and LFRA. The fire exhibit turned over all of the equipment, the small items, the photos, all of that stuff to the Loveland Museum. The fire exhibit's concern is if the museum were to decide, well, we don't need that stuff anymore, or we don't need this or that, and start to dispose of it, they want the fire exhibit to get first rights at getting that stuff back, and then LFRA to have the next rights after that if the exhibit wasn't a viable organization anymore. So just trying to button some of that stuff up to protect some of the history.
Can I ask a question about that? Chief Ward, do we currently rent, or not us, but the fire exhibit, do they currently rent space from the museum, or is that donated space?
I don't believe they rent it. I think the museum gives them 2 or 3 small rooms on that Cleveland side for their small display that they have.
Is that currently under contract or some sort of?
You know, I don't know, because that's strictly between the fire exhibit and then I can find out though.
I'd be interested to know if we could somehow secure space along with the apparatus, since they kind of go hand in hand, or at least if that could be a conversation. I don't know, maybe our city manager can speak to that. Director Johnson.
Well, and I don't know on the agreements, most displays, we normally have agreements on ownership,
Space.
right? Either they transfer ownership over to the museum or not. We also we have a additional storage unit that has a good number of,
That's
when I walked through a while back, I noticed that, and it was on some of the shelving in there. So we have a good amount of display materials, and so not sure on the ownership issue, and that would be something, and I'm glad we're working that out, because I think that's clear, because a lot of times in museums, things tend to, after a time, they get too much, and then you buy more and more storage unit, and then they decide to downsize it, so it's good that it goes back to the provider, unless they totally don't wish it back because they wanted a tax write-off on a donation or something. So in this case, we wouldn't have them. Yep.
They originally had a bigger space. The bank building that used to be right to the north of the museum was the original fire exhibit, and it was like a whole basement of a building, but now there's a big apartment building sitting there. But so that's how it started with the fire exhibit and the fire museum, and then they got moved over and they have that space on the Cleveland side now.
Good to find
in the
out if
B
it's something
building.
we can secure somehow in the future, for maybe even in, in the event that we would need it.
The next one is just an update on the budget process. So we presented last month the budget priorities. Our plan is the April board meeting. We're going to come back to you with our solutions and the dollar amounts for those items, and have some additional detail for you. So I don't want you to think that we dropped the ball for this meeting. Our plan is April, and that closely aligns with what Brian from the city needed for the next step for the city. So we're working on all that, been working on it in the background. We've had meetings about IT stuff and really trying to figure out where we need to go with these things. And then the last thing, if you are on social media and you follow LFRA's page, we're trying to step up our social media engagement. Christy and January, and then we have Jade, one of our firefighters that's actually going to college right now and centered on media, and so she's helping us out with some things. So trying to work on more videos and more engagement and things. So you'll see some things that maybe you haven't seen before, and just trying to get more people to learn about the LFRA. Ingrid, and I think she's back here, or was back there. Of course, she stepped out, but our plans reviewer, Ingrid McMillan-Erst. So we get a chance every year, the executive staff, to nominate someone for the Elks Firefighter of the Year. And a couple times in the history, it's actually been somebody that's not a firefighter, and this was this opportunity for us. Ingrid is a plans reviewer, so she looks at the buildings, looks at the developments, make sure they're safe for us. Their philosophy across the hall in that office is if they make it safe for the firefighters that have to go into them when there's a fire, then it's going to be a safe building for the public to be in there when there's not a fire. So they do a good job in looking at every one of those buildings and working with the contractors and coming to the end point of having a safe building. So Ingrid's not a firefighter that rides on the fire truck, but she's out there making the community safe, every day, just in a different capacity. So Ingrid is our Elks Firefighter of the Year. Unfortunately, she was at a class the day that the presentations happened. So we're working with the Elks to try and get time where we can meet with them and she can get her presentation and the donation to the charity of her choice. I think that's what she was most excited about. Every year they make a donation to the charity of the award winners choice. Congratulations to Ingrid. Carrie Dan received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Fire Marshals Association of Colorado. There was a big fire code and building code conference out at the Embassy Suites a couple of weeks ago. The Fire Marshals Association had an event in the evening, and the executive staff, we got invited out. Carrie didn't know we were going to be there, and they surprised her with the Lifetime Achievement Award. So that was pretty special for her. Some couple pictures of the badge pinning swearing in for Sarah. This is as we call it, a field promotion, where when someone gets promoted, we give them their badge when they're on duty and their new helmet if their helmet color changes for an officer promotion. And then every year in February, they go through a formal swearing in, badge pinning and stuff. What was a little bit unique with Sarah is Sarah was a non-sworn position as a fire inspector. The fire marshal is a sworn position. So we had to do a swearing in with this one. And so I talked with Chairman Swanee and because Chairman Swanee normally does that, but this was a field promotion. So I was able to swear her in. We got her badge pinned on, and then she'll get sworn in again by Chairman Swanee in front of everybody at the badge pinning that we do next year. Her timing's just really bad because we just did that in February. Now she's got to wait a whole year. So we wanted to make sure that she was sworn in and stuff before then. So her family got to come and enjoy that moment with her.
Well, but she did an excellent job last night at City Council. Maybe one of our fastest, I think, presentations ever. She was on point and unanimous support. So well done.
She was so prepared.
She was
ready to
clearly.
go.
No, she really did do great.
Yeah. Some photos of Chief Dan's retirement. We had a good turnout, and a lot of people said some very, very nice things about Carrie and her time frame here and what she did for our community. This one's really, really new. We just got this over the weekend. So the National Fire Registry is an effort to get all the firefighters across the country, as many as they can, registered in this registry for cancer tracking for firefighters. And so it's a national effort. LFRA, we've been working on this for a couple months, thanks to our battalion chiefs for doing a lot of work on this. But we received or recognized as a Gold Helmet Award, which is we've achieved it. We've done our part. We had over 70 of our members so far that have been enrolled in that. And that's just a way that throughout their career and beyond, they can track the cancer rates, they can track the cancer types, and have a huge database to try and help us in our tactics, our equipment, everything. What can we do to make things better for the firefighters and the cancer rate? So proud of the organization for achieving that. Christy and January are going to work on some social media postings. There was a couple other departments in Colorado that also achieved that, but it's very few so far across the country. So great job to our members.
Chief, if I might, how long has that organization been around?
About 4 or 5 years now.
So it's so their data is still relative.
Yep, it's still pretty new. If you go to when you go to any of the big fire conferences, there's usually booths, kiosks and stuff. They're trying to grab everybody they can that's walking by to enroll in it. It's probably like 45 minutes to an hour the survey takes to, if you answer all of the questions. There's a lot of history about the number of fires estimated you've been to, and it's just a lot of information. It takes a while to register, but I think down the road it's going to pay off really big for the fire service.
Thank you.
There's our new rescue truck on the left and our new engine on the right. The cabin chassis are here in Colorado. The rest of the truck, the back of the truck that SVI in Fort Collins builds, is both of them are well underway. They're both the engine came out of paint about 2 weeks ago, and the rescue was going into paint at the end of this week. So we should see them here shortly. That's it's been a few years in the making, so it'd be great fleet upgrades for us.
Shortly, if I might ask you that, Chief.
They're estimating we'll see both of them May, June in there.
Thank you.
They start to go pretty fast when they get here. Waiting for the SVI in Fort Collins doesn't build the cabs, the chassis, the motors. They just build the back ends, and waiting for the cabin chassis to get there has been, the longest part. And then they start building the back end, which usually goes fairly quickly. This one's Community Safety Awards. This was something that the Community Safety Division started this year. They wanted to recognize some of our contractors, some of our community members that have gone above and beyond for making buildings safe, being good partners in helping us with training our staff on sprinkler systems. And so there was 7 different award winners that they had a quick ceremony down here in the apparatus bay, and presented them with some awards, and was able to read their nomination forms that our members of the CSD team put together for them. Pretty cool event for first. They said it's the first annual, so we'll see if it grows from here. Some training pictures. The crews have been doing vehicle accident scenarios with Berthoud and Thompson Valley, multiple patients, stabilizing vehicles. One of them, that's the bottom of a bus on the right, so stabilizing large vehicles. I think the bus is laying on a car, if I remember right down there. You probably don't want to know how they got it there, but they stabilized that. They use the tools to extricate them. Off-roadway access to patients and moving patients a distance, like the car was out in the field, and moving several patients to the ambulances. So a lot of good training opportunity in the last month working with our partners. Recruiting event we did up at CSU. We try to go to CSU and to Ames every year, and then there's a few others that we hit around the state, but those are 2 of our major recruiting opportunities. Couple community education events, Kids Pack on the left, and then that's January fitting a bicycle helmet on the right. Chief Smith.
Okay. Call volume for February and the breakdown. Question to go. Nearest is new to us. It's just a new reporting system that we use. So first one on here is second alarm fire that was up in Estes Park. It's like a long-term stay hotel in most portions of it. Don't really know exactly the cause, but we were told that there were propane bottles found inside, so. A bunch of speculation, but we never really heard the exact cause of the fire. It damaged really 2 units on that structure. Sent a couple units up there. Started with a somewhat of a big wave, couple engines and the rescue and the battalion chief, and it got reduced down to an engine and rescue, and they were clearing the rest of us off. But when you drive that far, you kind of just finish the drive. Found cheap board on my way up there.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can we go back one slide? Thank you for that too, and thank you. Who's the response?
Impers
Yes,
or the nearest reports.
yes, medical, we responded to 600 medical related incidents. Do we have data on if we are hands-on during, I don't really know how those calls work. I've had, you know, firefighters show up at my house to help with medical things in the past. So I know sometimes it's like in a support position and sometimes they're really active with the call. Do we happen to know, is there a breakout of how often we are active in that call versus support for EMS?
So when we do our report, we have to put what actions that we take, so we can get down deeper into what we actually did to the incident. I'm glad you asked though. So it does say medical, but those also include traffic accidents.
Oh, okay.
So it's a broad group. But more importantly, that I don't know if everybody on the board has heard this before, we don't go on every medical call. We are super unique here in Loveland. If you look at any of our neighbors, they go on every single medical call. If we did, that number would be most likely doubled, if not close to being tripled. We've had this relationship, we've done our evaluation of call types. We actually pulled 13 different call types away from our responses back in 2024. Just because we found out, to your point, we weren't doing anything on these calls. We thought it was a great idea, is initiated when Station 7 went into play, because we thought, well, this is a good step. Well, we evaluated it for several years, and then we went to the information and we found, actually, we don't need to go on those call types. So yeah, we categorize them from Omega to Echo, Echo being like someone's not breathing. Omega is like someone has a cut on their finger and just needs a Band-Aid. We only go on the top 3 call types. So we're very specific, a great relationship with Thompson Valley. But yeah, we can narrow down to what action we've taken on scenes.
And it's really a partnership between 3 agencies, because it starts with the 911 dispatchers, because they have to gather the information and be able to prioritize that call correctly. And then it sends the right resources, whether it's an ambulance non-emergent or an ambulance emergent or an ambulance and a fire truck emergent. So they do a lot of work on the front end, and then the partnership between us and Thompson Valley on the back end.
Great, that's great. Thank you.
This one was an outbuilding or a workshop that was very well involved when we got on scene. Not exactly sure what the cause of it was. It's probably going to be left undetermined. But that was on the 6th, Southeast 4th in Madison area.
Didn't we just have a structure fire on Madison again? Not Madison?
Yesterday, yeah, there was that's on their last slide. There was a car into the building that caught fire. Yeah.
Right.
Next one. This was a super busy day. I was out of town, so I got to hear all about it when I got back. But over 90 calls this day that we ran. This was a significant event that we were dealing with, and while this was happening, we dropped a structure fire on East 16th. The chief board actually went to and was the incident commander. That was a small kitchen fire. That was the weather day and everything was blowing around crazy. Roughly 30 of those incidents were weather related or wind related. Major power outage, which then triggered fire alarms and elevator alarms, and so super busy day. This particular one was a not well extinguished fire that was happened before, that got into the mulch, and then it got into debris and turned into a big event for us.
That we didn't extinguish it the first time.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was the home.
Yeah, the
Thank you.
homeowner.
That was the homeowner that didn't.
Don't want anybody to think we didn't put the fire out right the first time.
We did a good job. And then this was yesterday afternoon, evening, vehicle through the intersection, jumped off a tree into the two-car garage separated from the house. Significant fire, but they were able to get it under.
Thank you.
Questions or comments from the board?
I've got a quick question, and I don't know if this is to you, Chief Porter, Chief Smith. There was a program that you had mentioned, I'm gonna say 2 months ago, where some advanced cameras are gonna be used to try and figure out smoke plumes. Sort of give you guys a quick heads up if this is real, if this is Memorex, whatever it might be. Can you give me an update on that? Has that gone anywhere, Chief?
So I actually just had a meeting today. Gentleman's name is Sebastian. It's called Deep Fire. If I got the name right. But it's newer technology. It's bigger than just the state of Colorado. They're giving us access. I don't know for how long, and it's currently free. It's satellite technology, so it looks for hotspots, and then it will if you, based on the parameters that you've asked it to do, it'll alert you. My most recent text message was for an alert in Boulder County on Thursday. But any new starts it could potentially get. They have a very broad, or robust is maybe the best word, spectrum that they're using. So they even take some of our information of burn permits that are in the system. I don't know exactly all the background behind it, but we have a burn permit that was just put in today that was in the system. There's 6 different cameras in Larimer County. 4 of the 6 I could actually see images on. So it's newer technology that we currently have access to. It's really good information. Don't know where it's going to go. You know, long term, I'm hoping we can still keep our relationships and partnerships with the Division of Fire Prevention and Patrol in Larimer County. They have access to cameras. Some of these are the same shared cameras. Same way with what LPD is doing with their drone program. Just trying to keep those relationships in play to get that intelligence early on so we can react the right way.
So is it fair to say you're kind of testing it a little bit, Chief? Or
Yeah, we're feeling it out, I guess, is a good feel, like, where is this going to fit the best? What I don't know is there gonna be a shoe that drops and like, okay, you've been using it for a year, this is gonna cost you a gazillion dollars. That part we haven't heard. They're really in this development phase. What do you need? They want to put those implementations in place. So I feel like we're kind of like the beta users right now, the way to describe it, but it's been a good platform and good information.
is it line of sight, or is it actually something you could put over a foothill with a repeater to, I mean, is that even possible?
Well, this particular product that we're using, at least the Deep Fire product, they're taking satellite technology, putting out the notifications, and then they're using all these different access points of either, yes, there's a prescribed fire in the area, so we're not going to alert that, or we don't have any intel that this is something that's planned, so we're going to send that alert out. And then it'll point you to cameras that'll give you potential information like, hey, look at this camera, it may show you something. So there are other technologies out there that we're not, I guess, engaged with, but we're definitely going to keep our eyes out.
Thanks, Chief.
Whole minor question. So on the medical, are you divided between BLS, basic life support, and advanced life support ALS, or is that where you make the divider? You make it somewhere in between?
No, so these are all the call types that we go on are what we've agreed to with Thompson Valley. Thompson Valley EMS on the call types, but in the emergency medical dispatch protocol, anything that's a Charlie, Delta, or Echo those do require ALS treatment, but they also ask for a BLS unit at the same time. So we only go on those emergent responses. The other ones that you may hear us go on, like a lift assist or something like that, that's because Thompson Valley was there and they need our help. Or they're completely out of resources and we might be the closest one and they'll say, hey, can you go take care of that for us? So those are the only ones we go on. I mean, we grew this over the years. When I first started here, we went on everything. But they are all the emergent responses that require both ALS, BLS to respond.
And then the other question is there any way to have like an average time on response for the different types? So example, fires 1.89% of the calls in February on 911, but when you look at that, was it 30% of the time? right? And so just like a time elements, because sometimes we may see one station has substantially more calls, but maybe the complexity of the call is very different than another station. So I don't know if that's easy to pull. If it's not, don't try to get it. But if it's something that we have available, just so we can kind of see both
So
volume and time.
So that breakout of those call types, like what time is
Yeah.
associated with each
So
of those?
like fire was 21% of the time of the calls or whatever.
Don't know, but I can check into that.
Yeah, to see if that's available, because I think it will kind of help too on some of these, because sometimes you look and some of the calls are really quick. But you see just a call number, but not, and it's out of service time too, so if they go on a call, they clear the call, but they're returning, if they don't go back into service for whatever reason, maybe that's the number we're looking for.
Yeah, well, that's two different paths for us. One, we're still building our relationship. We've definitely landed the representative that we want to pull the information out of first due. So that picture that you saw, the data that comes out of first due, that's where we do our records management or report writing. The other one specific to like, let's say, I want to know how often engine one was out of service. I'm going to have to get that from CAT. But I know I've got people that can help me. dig
Whichever's
into
the
that.
easiest if you can. I don't
Right.
just put a lot of effort into it. I just thought it'd be another good statistical data
Yeah.
to look at.
No, I agree. Okay, I'll dig into this.
Thank you.
Chief Smith, along that same lines, would they be able to break out like rural calls, city calls, like how much time is spent on a rural call on an average versus a city call on an average, or?
Possibly. So what Lieutenant Walsh is working on right now is for our annual compliance report for accreditation in July. That one is going to specific, and I can share it, but the data, just so you are clear with what it's saying or showing. We have a urban response area, and I have a map that I can share that draws a specific box. Anything inside that box is going to be considered an urban response. Now, that doesn't mean city versus fire district. That just means what we are classifying as an urban response. This is typically a 5-minute or maybe even up to 5-mile boundary. That'll have that time frame on the response model versus the rural, which is outside that particular box. That makes sense. So I'll be able to have that here soon, say in the next few weeks anyways. May was his target date to have that timeline done so we can have our report ready.
It would probably give us a good feel though, right? And we do have fire stations outside the urban area as well, so.
And we've anticipated some of that request. So that's some of the work that we're doing with First Due and some of the reports that Captain Schutz has been working on and what we can show. So yeah, I would love to be able to say, here's engine 41. This is their response in the city. This is their response in the rural. This is what an urban response is according to accreditation standard versus the rural response standard. That timeline, because that's the main, I guess, not the main, but one of the points that they look at in your accreditation model. Are you meeting your response times?
I think, Chairman, you're asking how much, so engine 47 goes on a medical call. How long are they from dispatch till available? That's what that one. And then the same thing with engine 41 goes to a medical call down the street here, same type of thing, because station 47 or engine 47, they could have a medical call that lasts 45 minutes to an hour, and station 1 may run 3 calls in that same time frame, just due to travel distance and stuff. So is that what you're looking for, is from call time all the way till they're back in service?
Well, I know you've been here for the conversations when we talk about call volume. You know, we have our 16%, we have our 17%. But one of the questions that has come up is, does that 16 or 17% take up more than 16 or 17% of the time? No. Would it be good to look at the amount of time we're spending in rural versus city?
So like a city versus rural unit utilization.
Yeah.
I think.
We made some changes in First Due, which I think we'll be able.
Is that the software that we use with dispatch?
No, so that's different. They're gonna be similar data sets, but they're not exact. And so that's the hard part. when I'm reporting data now, I'm reporting where it's coming from, so it's clear. So if someone grabs something from CAD, which is our community dispatch system versus First Due, there could be differences, and I want people to be clear that these are just different data sets where it's coming from.
Is it possible in CAD for things to auto-populate based on address, would automatically say, based on our, metrics, that that's rural or this, within the city, or it's urban or it's not, like, can it just automatically do that in that database, do you know?
So we do have that, and that's the, in your packet that you have a different pie chart that says city versus district. That's the
That's
data
from
set
CAD.
that you're getting right now.
And but they don't have call totals because then they hang up, so then we have to switch to the other one, right?
No, they do, because that's where all that information that gets into our records management system goes. So it is in CAD, and then it goes into First Due.
And do they market medical, fire, non-emergency, all that?
That's gonna be the main difference, is that information that's coming from CAD is gonna get categorized differently in the records management system that we use. We've got, I don't know the number, we got a very large number of different call types in CAD. So that's really the biggest separation, is that NERIS, the National Emergency Reporting Information System, I might have got that right.
Good.
That system does the categorization, and that's what we have to file nationally. What we have in CAD are specific to us and what we say we want to do on responses. So that's the difference, but the information that you're asking for can come from either source.
I guess what I'm wondering is, can we streamline it somehow?
That's what we're trying to do. We're hoping to actually get it all out of First Due, because we already need that and are required to do that for national requirements. So can we just pull it out of there? And I've got a bunch of smart cats that are working on it. It's not time.
And can CAD just data dump into,
It does.
okay,
Yeah, it's giving us a bunch of information, which I didn't realize it was doing, because I was getting weird data before, but different story.
this is hands off as we can deal with that, is all I was.
Yeah, no, we want it automated.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
soon as we can get automated, that's our goal.
Cool.
Chief Smith, thanks for the data. I don't know, is this kind of part of Captain Liggett's stuff or Captain Liggett's? Yeah.
No,
Captain
that's
Schultz.
my digging right now. It's not pretty, sorry, but I'm.
No, it's
trying to
very
trying to
helpful.
get you some data.
Chief, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. That's going to take us to number 7, executive session.
Chair, before we do that, can I take a moment of personal privilege?
Oh, please do.
So, and Chief, this is for you all, for the administrative staff, for the firefighters, the frontline firefighters, and also for the city, the rural residents that are out there. There's one thing I've learned since I've been on city council, and it's this: if you allow rumors to persist, they become true whether they are or not. And there have been a few rumors rolling around, especially I think since Director Sampson and I joined the board, in and of itself, and with what was going on with Chief Semmelbeck, that there's an effort under foot to dissolve the authority in and of itself. And I just want to take a moment to speak to that and say it can't be the furthest thing, at least from my own mind. And I know the time that I've spent on this board, although it seemed like it's been years, it's only been a couple months. The feeling I get from my fellow board members is that they're here, their commitment is to maintain a strong and a stable authority. This authority is made up of 3 pillars: the city, the rural, and the organization itself. Each one of them are carrying the weight of this authority. And if any of those are weak, the authority fails. So I just want to say straight up, there's no talk out there whatsoever of dissolving this authority. There is a lot of talk out there about approving things, and we'll have some of those conversations that are there. And I heard the conversation on executive sessions, and I wasn't planning on saying anything about that, but I thought I'd roll that into this. When I first went on city council, I hated executive sessions. I sat in those chairs and I go, what the hell were they saying back there that I can't hear? And I learned that it's not because we're not mature enough. It's not because we're not adult enough. It's because there are aspects of the law, whether it be employee law, whether it be legal advice that we're getting, whether it be negotiations, that those things have to occur out there. And what we can try and do, and I know what the council's trying to do and what the board's trying to do, is to find those ways to bring those things out to you all and get them to you But the things we can't bring to you are to protect the employee, to protect the negotiations that are going on, and to protect the information that we gain from the lawyers out there. So again, my commitment is to fight to make this the strongest authority out there. And it doesn't put a district off the map. It's something that we can definitely look at, but right now we've got to make sure the authority is strong. Make sure that you chiefs and your staff and your frontline firefighters have everything they need to do to protect the citizens and make sure that we have a stable environment and a stable authority that can do that day in and day out. And that's what I want to do. So thank you very much.
Great comments, Mayor. Thank you. Paul, anything?
No, I just appreciate that. I agree.
Yeah. And if I could piggyback on that, like today's meeting, we're gonna be talking about things that it'd be important to protect the people we're talking about. They might not want people to know they're out looking for a job right now. It could impact their job security where they're currently working. So a lot of things decided in executive session aren't to protect us, it's to protect the people we're talking about. Mr. Colwell, I appreciate your question as well. And as somebody who has been very engaged with the authority for many years, I feel like we have a great partnership with the city and the rural, and every conversation I've been engaged in with the city, they're very supportive of the rural. I don't see this relationship breaking up. Could it evolve to a district at some point? Possibly. It's not a question of what's bad or good. Another important thing to understand there is the district doesn't bring any more money into a fire department. It's just a different way of taxing people, and it's complicated. And we can get into that in more detail later if that's something the public wants to hear about. It's certainly not anything that we want to hide from the public. We've had numerous conversations about district versus authorities going back to a totally different governmental agreement. And right now, the authority model seems to be the very, very best way for the authority to continue.
No, I say,
Yes,
but
please.
if I could just add that, the things that we discuss in executive session, but we don't make decisions in executive session. And at this point in time, would we have announcements to make regarding personnel, or if we had down that path, that the board will certainly share, where we're at with that, but we're not at that point just yet. But I agree with you, Mr. Chair, that, to protect our candidates, to protect the organization, these are necessary.
Okay, we don't know how long we'll be out, but I
We'll be
do
back.
need a motion to go into executive session pursuant to C.R.S. 24-6, 402, 4B to receive advice of legal counsel regarding fire chief hiring process.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we're gonna go into.
We have to have a statement
Yep.
on executive session.
I will certify that because this is under subsection B, advice of legal counsel, that it will not be recorded.
Thank you.
pantry and said, there she is.
I didn't know.
You're going the wrong way. There is one. Is that?
I don't know, I didn't find it.
I've never seen this one.
We need Andrea?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought she knew.
You got it.
Glad I grabbed our sheet.
What's that?
Aren't you glad I grabbed our sheet?
Yes, I am. Where did you grab
We
it?
Don't. That just causes trouble.
I know.
Starting in the hall, we needed you.
Yeah, well, if you did, I just
Oh,
get caught.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, we are back in session. Thank you, everybody, for waiting for us. Thank you. Anyway, I'm gonna open it back up to board for any comments.
If I could,
Yes, please.
so, on the, oops, grabbed my daughter up from the bus. Excuse me.
Leaving?
No, it's just a reminder. So after some discussion, I've kind of written down something that I'd like to make, a motion that I'd like to make. Okay, good. We can just hop right into it. So, I move to request that the chief staff would work with legal counsel to bring back an RFQ to engage a search firm for the ultimate hiring of a fire chief and for the process to include, so in the RFQ, it must include community engagement, staff and sworn engagement, and interested shareholder engagement as well. That would be included in the RFQ. And I guess for you to bring that back, I don't know, by our next meeting, if that's not too soon, 6 weeks, how long would you need for something like that? I think have it by the next meeting. Okay, you'd be comfortable with that. With legal as well? No. Yes, okay, yeah, so fire.
It's part of the motion too.
No, carve that part out. To bring back the RFQ within or by the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from the board?
I just want to, yeah, go ahead.
Andrea, do you have any questions on what we're looking for?
I think that summarizes it and, we'll bring back some other things suggestions of stuff to be in there and we'll take it from there.
We trust you.
Yeah, for the time, right?
Okay, if there's no further comments, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any other business for board consideration? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.
I have a chamber company. It's my life.